Looking back at How to Train Your Dragon 2, is it still one of the best animated sequels made? Let's find out. Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat. We'll put a movie on for you. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we look at the movies from the past, see with our modern eyes, still good today, and if Grandma approves. And I'm your host, Isaac. You're as beautiful as the day I lost you. And who's joining me to consider How to Train Your Dragon 2?
This is Seth. Some of us were just born different.
And welcome one and all to Grandma's House. How you feeling, Seth?
Doing all right today. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty good, actually. It's like, I don't know if it's the weather. It's just something about it. I'm feeling pretty good today. Just not as much rain, maybe coming out of the spring season. That's helping, but I'm doing pretty good overall. I'm really interested as we consider this movie. There's some things we're going to be touching on because the live action of the original just came out. So we're going to be considering the sequel. This might be something DreamWorks does live action. So we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. But before we do, just want to give you the proper spoiler warning going forward. We're going to be talking about this movie. So if you have not seen it, consider yourself warned. And if you want to show us some love, show some love to Grandma, be sure you're subscribed, smash that button below, comment as well your thoughts on the movie. We want to hear from you guys and what you think of this sequel to How to Train Your Dragon. So let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? This is How to Train Your Dragon 2. And this was released all the way back. Man, I just can't believe this. It feels like it was yesterday. It was June 13th, 2014. So about 11 years ago. It had a budget of $145 million. Nothing to snuff at there, big budget. But the box office, it proved to be pretty good. It's $21.5 million. As far as reviews, just looking around, it's pretty positive for the most part. IMDb, 7.8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 92%. For Rotten Tomatoes, that's normally a good if you're in the 90s. Metacritic's about 77%. Currently, you can watch this on Peacock. So just few things there just to point out about this film, but I'm interested. Want to get your thoughts. What are some of your first memories with this film?
So I loved the first one. I remember seeing it just once before the review, and I really liked it. But for some reason, I can't believe it, I never saw this movie. So this was fresh. This was completely fresh.
Interesting. I've done that we've talked about movies in the past. Like I go, why did I not see this movie? But sometimes
it was such a good, outstanding film, and I the sequel you would think I would have been ready for, but I don't know, maybe life happened. I don't remember.
Life happens for sure. I can absolutely relate. Well, for me, I mentioned about the first one when we considered it that my at the time future wife introduced me to it. So this kind of worked out because when this came out, this was again back in 2014, we were now married. So we actually went and saw it together. It was kind of like a fun little date night. And I recall really enjoyed it. We thought that was really good. You know, we liked the first one, but going and seeing this on the big screen, I thought it was really awesome. A lot of the sequences has a lot of flying again, like with dragons and all that. So I remember enjoying it back then. However, this is 11 years ago. So I'm interested to hear, though, what's your expectations going back to watching this for the first time?
So not really had seen it before. All my expectations were to really just be half as good as the first movie. That's what I was hoping for.
Right on. Yeah, for me, I was like, I hope I enjoy this again. And now I get to watch it with my kids, see what they thought of it. And they love the first one. So I'm thinking this has got to be a no-brainer. But I still wanted to keep my expectations level because this, you know, it feels like yesterday I say that, but 11 years, that actually is a long time. So I was hoping, hope at least the kids enjoy it and it holds up for me. I hope it does because I have good memories when we first saw it. Well, before we get to our plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsor. Love movies as much as we do? Bring the experience of the big screen to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into classics, blockbusters, or indie gems, they've got something for every film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can get 15% off your order now. Just use code Grandma's House 15 at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. So let's take this DVD out of the case. Let's put it in the DVD player and press play.
Welcoming back old faces, in this sequel, the island has a new favorite pastime, dragon racing. Hiccup and Toothless are busy exploring new unmapped territories. They come across an ice cave housing hundreds of dragons and a mysterious rider. Grab a tasty snack and enjoy another movie at Grandma.
Hey, there you go. This is very interesting. It's like the first one. We kind of talked about it. It hits the ground running. It just kind of throws you into the chaos or the action. That's what kind of gets me with this movie is same thing. Just kind of feels like it picks up where it left off. But I'm interested. What were some of your first impressions when you're watching this?
So I thought, don't hate me, that it wasn't quite as polished as the first one, but it had a lot of charm.
Okay. I can kind of see that. I was going to say, to me, the animation might have got a little better. It kind of got cleaned up a little bit because we kind of talked about it with the first one. It's still really good today, the animation. But there are some, like, I don't know how else to describe it, maybe a little grainy, maybe just not quite as polished. This one feels more polished. But I kind of take your side with it a little bit of, they changed the style. So to me, I thought it was good, but I could also kind of see that. Wouldn't you agree? Maybe it's the style change, or do you think there was more to it?
I can't really explain it. In my overview, I wrote down that it was very well done, greatly surprised at how good of a movie it was. And then I felt that the voiceover work was great. The writing was very good, but I didn't think the animation was as visually stunning as the first one. And maybe it is the style, maybe it's the actual type of graphics they use. I'm not sure. I would have to study it basically to know the difference. But I just thought the first one was more visually like sweeping, if that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense. I think you can kind of make a point for either or. I like them both. I'll just say that. I don't know which one's really better, to be honest. Kind of like what you said, I have to go back and study them a little bit. I think the change, I do prefer the first one, like the style. That's the angle I'll take with it, because I do think there's some really stunning scenes, especially with like the alpha dragon with the ice and the water effects. I mean, those are still, they were great in the first one. I thought they kind of picked it up with this one too, but I could totally see that. That's an interesting take. Normally you think, oh, sequels bigger and better, but I actually haven't heard someone say that. So that's an interesting take on it, but I definitely see your viewpoint on it compared to the first one. The first one just felt really, I don't know, like cozy. You're like cozy at home. It felt really good. This one was definitely a change. I agree with you on the animation side. The characters, they come right back though. I feel like this is, I'll just come out and say it because there's a lot to unpack with this one. That's one thing I'll say when I'm watching this impression wise, it brings you back to the characters. It brings you back to the settings, but it expounds on it and it really goes into the different layers of the plot. So maybe get your thoughts first. What are you thinking with this plot? Like, what are some ways to unpack it, do you think?
There's so much going on. I loved how they just kept building and building. The plot was really well done. It's clever for a sequel. A lot going on, like I said. There's just a lot of different layers to it. And I thought that was kind of nice because I didn't expect that coming in. Usually when you get a sequel, there's something missing. And I didn't feel that in this movie. It really kind of blew my mind a little bit.
I 100% agree with you. Like, that's exactly my thoughts on it, because I felt like with sequels, they just kind of, okay, here you go. You know what's going on, and here's just a thrown together. You start out with, like you said, they're now dragon riders. Everybody's kind of come in the town of accepting dragons, but it really builds on those layers, like you said, because he stumbles upon these people that are now capturing dragons and bringing it to this guy called Drago, and he's just really imposing fear on people. Like, oh, you even mentioned his name. It imposes fear. So there's that plot that starts out. Then you have Hiccup coming across, spoiler, his mother. His mother is alive. She's not dead. And she's now this like dragon charmer. Like, she's able to really, it's really cool. I really like that part of it.
It was. I wasn't laughing at that. I just, I don't know why I'm laughing actually.
Dragon charmer. That's what you're
probably. It might have been. That might have been.
But that's right there alone. You can make that almost a movie in itself. Just the mother, but that's a plot point. But then you have again the Drago plot. He's that villain and through villain. He's got history with his dad. His dad escaped where he sabotaged, and that's what we're going to go to. We'll come back to. It's a lot darker, the plot in this film. And then from there, there's this new alpha dragon that he has. So there's so much going on. I mean, I'm just scratching the surface on this, but I guess what did you think of certain plot points? Again, it could be about his mother, it can be about the villain, so on.
You know what I really appreciated was the mother and his father's reaction to seeing her. You probably want to talk about that. I just was blown away at how they captured that emotion, and it seemed like it was lifelike instead of animated.
Absolutely. I was going to comment, Gerard Butler knocks it out again. I mean, he's just absolutely, I can't get enough of just, I'll say it, my personal favorite. We've considered so many good voice actors, and you can make a case for any one of them. I don't think there's really a wrong answer. I'm just saying my personal favorite. I could hear him read the phone book to me. I don't care. I'll just, 1722. I can't do it. That's the thing. I just respect him so much. He has such a distinct voice, but it's got so much emotion. Yeah. And that scene you're talking about, that's just a flawless scene, in my opinion. Both with him and Kate Blanche. Is that the name of the? Mm-hmm. Yeah. She does the voice of the mother. She does a great job. I think the voice acting, again, overall, you have everybody returning, but then you have her as a new voice. How do you say his name? The guy that does Drago. It's a guy that's been in a lot of minor roles. It's like Jaman Hansu. I'm totally butchering that name. I feel like I am. But he is kind of the new voiceover. But everybody else returns. That's what I also appreciate this film. They brought back pretty much everybody. And we touched on the voice acting. I mean, it doesn't change. I think they just keep it going. They do an excellent job on the voice acting. But do you know how to say
Hansu. Okay. I love him. I've seen him in tons of movies.
Yes.
Tons of movies. Very, very, very dramatic actor.
Yes. And he's dramatic in this one. I mean, we could talk about the characters, but I think the thing that we're kind of getting to is the dark themes. And you mentioned that scene with them reuniting. I agree. It's kind of a darker, as much as it's a happy, he's reuniting with his mother, Hiccup at first, and then Stoic is able to meet up as well. I think that's kind of on a darker side, just that
very intense.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of drama to that. Yeah, it was well captured. I'll just say it, all the characters shine in this one. They did a very good job hiring who they've hired. I love the great voiceover work, but especially Kate Blanchett this time blew me away. I've never seen her in a bad movie. So to have her on board was pretty cool. I did a little bit of research and found out that she, it's not a fun fact, so I'll just say it now, that she, they asked her when the movie was wrapping for the first one, if she'd come back or come to do this one. And she said that she would love to, and especially because in her household, her children loved the first one. So
very cool. I could see that. I mean, I mentioned my kids love the first one. They were laughing at this one, and that's where I feel like there's just so much to unpack. We're touching on the plot of, the mother is alive. You have this one of the more menacing villains. Maybe we'll have time to come back and kind of touch on him. But we haven't even talked about Toothless. Toothless is like the star of the show again. Like, I feel like he's, again, it's How to Train Your Dragon. He's that main dragon. And my kids just love anytime Toothless is in the scene because he's so playful. There's that banter back and forth with Hiccup. I mean, what'd you think about the return of Toothless?
I love that there's that scene. Is it his mother that presses on his back?
Yeah.
And he's able to fly more agilely. Is that the word I'm looking for? Like more agile turns and things more easily. I just thought that was really cool. It kind of cemented her, what she does to Hiccup, and I thought it was very playful and everything was all together, and it just worked.
Yeah. My kids, they were just laughing at that. Like, there's a part where they're kind of bantering back and forth, and Toothless walks normally like a human with Hiccup around him, and he dangles him over a cliff. I love that scene. It's at the beginning when he's like charting out the new territory and stuff. They're just they're almost like siblings, like with each other. They're just kind of, and the way they animated Toothless, if you loved him in the first one, you're gonna love him in the second one. That's simply put. Like, he's so much fun. He's unfortunately going back to the dark toons, a part of the plot in a negative way. Unfortunately, going back to Gerard Butler, I liked his voice acting. I was so sad to see there towards the end. So what happens is this new alpha dragon by Drago, he is able to make it take control of the dragons because it takes out the main alpha. And again, see, I feel like I'm like lavering on to try and explain this scene, but I was just sad to see that Stoic does get taken out by Toothless. I mean, what did you think of that scene? It's really dark.
I actually, when it happened, I couldn't believe it. Like, it didn't register. And as the film progressed after that, I was like, ooh. I don't know. Did you have a similar feeling?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We saw it, like I said, in the theater when it came out. The whole theater just got quiet. I mean, this is a kid's movie, but it felt like even the adults were like, they kind of gasped. And it was, like you said, there was that tone afterwards. They give them the proper like funeral and things. But it really took it up another notch. Because again, Toothless is under that power of the alpha. That's what the alpha is able to do with the dragons, and pretty much makes Toothless take out Stoic. And then, of course, Hiccup is upset and loses Toothless. But it all comes first. It at least makes it a little cheery because it makes the baby dragons, the kid dragons, because they say they don't listen to anyone. They come back around and make it kind of that playful of that's the plot point. They're able to use the baby dragons to not lose their dragons after that alpha took control of it. But there's so much packed into this movie that we could talk about. But what are some other things that kind of stick out to you about this film as a whole, especially since this is the first time watching? I'm interested.
Well, I wish I would have just taken loads of notes, because this is one of those films where you can get really caught up in each scene. There's a lot of dramatics, a lot of dark themes, but they also put a lot of lighter scenes in as well. And I kind of was shocked at how dark they went. To go on to what you were saying, to go along with that, the only quote I wrote down for this movie was, "Men who kill without reason cannot be reasoned with." And that's a very dark quote, but it's very, very smart. And I like that. So I made a note of it, and I like that. But there's another quote I couldn't recall. I didn't write it down, and I couldn't find it on the internet. And so I'll have to watch it again. But there are some quotes in this movie. It's not quite as quotable as the first one, but the scenes were pretty heavy, I would say. There's quite a few. There's ones that you don't expect for sure, and I think that those are the ones that kind of hit you harder.
I agree with that. I think that's a good point. So like the first one had, I think it was more quotes to it. This one definitely had its funny moments, but it wasn't as much on the quote side. It was more on the Toothless being silly, or there's one quote I wrote down, and that was from Gobber. He says, when they first reunite, the mother and Stoic, he's like, "And this is why I never married. This and one other reason."
That's one of the quotes I wish I would have written down. Yeah, I love that one.
I wrote it down. I was like, that's a good one. I like it. So there's little ones like that.
Yeah, there are.
But I think with this movie, there's a theme of, so you have the father who was, I want to kill dragons. That's the first film. And the mother, come to find out, she was wanting to try and save them. And that's where she gets taken by the one dragon, and they thought that she died, but no. In fact, she's able to train all these dragons. But Hiccup is saying, yeah, come back to the town. Everybody is good on dragons. She finds it hard to believe. She's like, I've tried to change them. I can't do it. And then, like you brought out, that was, I believe, Stoic who said, men who kill cannot be reasoned with. That's kind of the theme of some people are not going to be willing to change. Some people will. In the case of Stoic, he does come to be accepting of dragons. But that villain, we maybe touch on him real quick. Drago is like one of the more menacing villains that we've considered. We've considered a bunch of villains, but what did you think of that villain, Drago?
One thing in research I found was that he, the actor, did that, like that scream. He did that as a warm-up exercise for his vocals. And they liked it so much they put it in the movie, which is kind of cool because it was menacing for sure.
Oh,
that's a great word.
Gosh, that's his warm-up?
Yeah.
I can see why they used it. That's interesting, a warm-up, because it is a very terrifying. I mean, it terrifies a dragon in the one scene when he takes control of it. He does that menacing scream, so that's really cool. But yeah, he's very terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, I would not mess with this guy. He is bad dude. One bad dude. He's kind of cool with the cloak, but
they had a lot of cool new characters for this one, for sure. We should probably bring that out as well. I felt like some of the side characters weren't used as much in the first movie, which they hired great voice actors. I mean, that's not a question. They just didn't use them enough, in my opinion. And in this movie, they had, a lot of different lines from these side actors, these, not top billing actors. And I appreciated that. I thought that was really what, something they did really well.
Yeah, that's a great point, because you have a lot of characters in the first one. They all come back, and then you add in again you have the mother, you have the villain Drago, and then Aret. Is that how you say his name? He's like the dragon catcher. He it's voiced by Kit Harington. So you have him as a new character, and he's kind of in this. That was just kind of weird. I'll just point out, like, the one girl, I forget her name. I think it's the one that Kristen Wiig does a voice for. I think it's Rough Nut is her name. She's like, oh, wow. And it's like his arm, like the flubber. Like, that's kind of weird, I'll say. That little like love triangle going on, because they're all trying to get the side characters' affections and things like that. But it was interesting. I just was like, okay, I could do less with that part of it, but I do like that they brought those characters back.
Yeah.
And really brought them in. So, okay, well, let's hear some of your fun facts. What kind of things did you find out?
I've got a few. So the drawings on the wall in the dragon stables in Burt were actual drawings done by the children of the crew who worked on the film.
That's really cool. I love when they do that.
I like that stuff. That makes it more earthy, more real, more lovable. Some of the animators and designers spent a week touring Norway to give them an inspiration for the location.
Very nice. I could see that. You got to do your research for sure, but I appreciate when animators don't just throw something together. So that makes sense, though.
Yeah. And then this was the front runner for the Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature, but lost to Big Hero 6.
Oh, wow. Interesting that that's a movie we haven't covered yet. So
yeah,
I'm not going to say a word, but that is cool. That came out the same year. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So it is time for our fun fact trivia question. Are you ready?
I hope so. I've been not doing too good recently, but let's see if I can turn it around. I'm ready.
So John Powell recorded his score at London's Abbey Road Studios with an 120-piece orchestra with a multitude of ethnic instruments. How many choir singers did they use? A, 100, B, 75, or C, 50?
What were they one more time? I'm sorry. I thought I had it.
The numbers?
Yeah.
A, 100, B, 75, or C, 50?
Man, those, I could see all of those, but I'm going to go 75.
Oh. It was A, 100.
Oh. That was my other choice. I was going between those two. That was in my head. Man, you're doing a good job of tricking me up. Maybe it's not that hard to do. Maybe I'm just not.
No, I don't. I think that's an odd question, I think. So,
well, I'll just say, hopefully I'll do better next time. That's all. But that's cool. 100. That's an even number. Maybe I should have thought of that. Like, well, that's a nice even number. But that's still pretty cool. All right. Well, before we get to our reviews, we like to look around the net, just kind of get an idea of what kind of reviews out there. So, Seth, what kind of reviews are you seeing?
The first review I found was Billy Goat 1071 says, soaring way up high, 10 out of 10.
Wow. Really liked it. Okay.
The second one was movie exclusive, said, both emotionally and visually dazzling, this is one sequel that lives up to the dizzying heights of the predecessor, 8 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, they like that one too. I think 8, if you rate an 8, you really like it. And this is, a lot of people regard this as one of the better animated sequels. So I can kind of see that, though. That makes sense.
Tom Gillespie, 2002, says, thrilling, emotional, and extremely thoughtful, 7 out of 10.
Yep. Very well put. That's a good way to summarize it. It's, we'll get to, I got some thoughts to share when we get to reviews, but I can agree with that. So, all right, let's do it. Let's get down to it and give our ratings now. So I have to ask you, Seth, like I always do, when it comes to the movie, How to Train Your Dragon 2, how are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to leave it at grandma's? Are you going to hide it in the attic?
So I'm going to leave this one at grandma's, looking forward to revisiting. And my explanation for that is that I felt like I was on the fence of like giving this one a take it home, but it was so dark. It was kind of came out of nowhere compared to the first one. And it was a little bit too shocking for me. Like the storyline was a little bit strong, a little bit too harsh, I should say. That's my only fault with the movie. It's a great movie. I would recommend this movie.
Very nice. I can't fault you for that. And as far as my rating, so I was trying not to compare it to the first. As much as this is a sequel, every single one of these, you got to treat it as its own standalone. And I feel like this can be a standalone movie. I feel like it's, like you said, it's a great movie, great story, great characters, great voice acting. The animation, maybe you don't like it or what, but I thought it was good. It was a strong animated movie. I was on the fence too, though. I'll be honest with you. I really enjoyed the first one. I've got a lot of good memories with the first one, and I took that one home. This one, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to actually leave this one at grandma's. It's probably going to be one of the more top ones because I was so on the fence. And the reason for it is exactly what you're saying. It's just, it needs to aid the plot. Those types of things are occurring because of the plot. But I did feel like, wow, this is a darker movie. And my kids seemed to be okay with it, but I was a little concerned at times. I mean, it doesn't push it. It doesn't show anything graphic, nothing like that. There's just a lot of darker themes. Again, the mother supposedly being dead, she comes back. I mean, that should be a happy occasion, but I still am kind of hit with emotion with that reuniting. I mean, that's a heavy emotional scene. And then the next scene, Stoic gets killed by Toothless. That's a very dark element of the plot. And, just like you said, the dark themes. It is very much a movie I'm not going to watch all the time. I think it deserves to be revisited every once in a while, like your movie at grandma's house. You get that one out every once in a while. I think the first one is a little more of a complete film. This one is still great, but that's how I'm going to look at it. It was still on the fence, but I'm totally with you. Exactly. I couldn't have said it better, actually, how you put that when it comes to the dark.
I think you said it perfectly.
I was just agreeing with you, though. This is one of those, I think we're in a very tight agreement on this one. It's just maybe be a little bit, well, actually, let's just jump to that, actually. What is grandma's rating, her granny's family-friendly rating?
Granny's family-friendly rating is for How to Train Your Dragon 2 is a C for violence and dark themes. And it had that in it.
Yes. Exactly. I was starting to get into it. I'm like, no, let's just share grandma's rating. I don't think grandma's going to be too offended with this because you should know what you're getting into. We talked about that with the first one. This is about dragons. It's about Vikings, but it's definitely darker than the first one. So just be forewarned. If you like the first one, you should probably enjoy this one. Like you said, you enjoyed the first one, and going into this one, you're hoping to enjoy it. I think you will. I think for the most part, but be forewarned. It's going to be an interesting experience. I loved hearing your thoughts when you when you saw it for the first time, because that was our reaction when we saw it for the first time too. Well, there it is, folks. There is our take on How to Train Your Dragon 2. But before we wrap things up, Seth, why don't you tell the good people where they can find and connect with us?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can email us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. We have a newsletter, so keep up to date with all things Movies at Grandma's House. We are on Patreon, so check us out, become a member, and go to movieposters.com and type in Grandma's House 15 at checkout for 15% off.
There you go. That's all. And again,
I got it perfect again. It was a little mess up right at the end.
No, you did great. Be sure to check those out. And again, be on our newsletter because that's where you'll be up to date. You'll be entered into our monthly contest for a free poster of your choice. And we've got a lot of goodies in there too. We have a lot of things to come as well. So stay tuned because we want to give back to you guys. And the best way that you can be up to date is signing up for our newsletter. So that's going to do it for now at Grandma's house. But don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, be sure to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.